You're listening to Crashes, Claims, and Clarity, hosted by Darrell Burrow, a Georgia-based personal injury attorney with over 30 years of experience and founder of Burrow and Associates. With a background in both legal strategy and compassionate client care, Darrell has helped over 10,000 individuals and families navigate life after injury. Guided by his Christian faith and a deep sense of justice, he brings expert insight, personal stories, and powerful interviews to every episode. If you're looking for truth, support, and clarity in the aftermath of an accident, this is your place. This is Crashes, Claims, and Clarity.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Crashes, Claims, and Clarity. I am your host, Darrell Burrow. I'm the founding member of Burrow and Associates. We are a law firm here in the state of Georgia. Our home office is located in Gwinnett County, which is a suburb of Atlanta. As you know, here on the show, we interview past clients, we interview doctors and other professionals that are in the personal injury space. We try to bring just a few nuggets, tidbits of information that bring clarity to accidents and other injuries. Today is a really important topic. We're going to be talking about money that people might receive from a settlement when that is paid, or a verdict at trial once that process is over and actually paid. And today on the show, I am excited to have Shavon Roman with us. So glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. I am so excited for today's conversation.
Good. She is the Chief Money Strategist at Heal Plan Invest, and she helps people do all of those things. She helps people try to make better decisions, heal from past problematic decisions that they might have made, try to bring clarity to their financial situation, and try to just help them make better decisions with a calmer and more level-headed approach. Again, thank you so much for joining us. Before we kind of launch into what people might face during or when they receive a settlement or a recovery, if you could, Shavon, just tell us a little bit about your background.
Oh, absolutely. First, Darrell, I am so excited to be here to have a conversation with the attorney and the money person. It is something everyone should tune into and listen to. So I'm excited for today's conversation. Well, my name is Shavon Roman. I am the Chief Financial Strategist at Heal Plan Invest. I have been doing this business professionally for the past 14 years, but I have been doing this work my entire life. So in my professional career, I worked for a Fortune 100 investment company for over a decade, helping people who were rich get richer. And what I understood were there were some principles that they were absolutely moving and working under that all of us could use. The second piece was people who weren't as wealthy. What I noticed was the firm did not specialize in helping them. So it was more than money. We're talking about retirement accounts and 401ks in the stock markets, but we really need to understand, how does your heart feel? Did you grow up in poverty? Did you grow up with money? Were your parents spenders and savers? So my insight was there were all of these money conversations happening without the emotional conversations. And you need both to really move forward to create wealth. So I left after a decade and launched my own firm, really focused on people healing money trauma and then looking at what does the practical strategy look like to really create true wealth.
That's fantastic, and congratulations on your success. And it's actually a great segue. I took a look at your website and I noticed about 4 bullet points when it comes to that healing aspect. And let me read these off one by one. And if you'd kind of talk just a minute about each of these, that would be fantastic.
I'm ready.
All right, the first bullet point there, and you know these, I'm reading them off for our viewers and listeners, of course. Releasing shame and guilt around your financial past.
Yes, it's regret, right? It's thinking about the things, the decisions that I made with the information that I had at that time, right? The past is the past. We can't change it. But how do we really get you to a place to say, hey, you know what? Maybe I didn't make the best financial decisions. The regret is heavy, right? I just wish I would have known certain things. That is the piece that we start at. How do you feel about where you are financially? And then the other piece you got to consider is you got to forgive yourself, because
Hmm.
all of these decisions weren't always necessarily made in irresponsibility, right? I wasn't just out here spending money. Perhaps these decisions were made out of survival. So we start there, like these past decisions, forget the regret. Let's start with forgiving ourselves so we can move forward.
Okay, great. What about building self trust when it comes to money?
Trust yourself, Darrell. So, especially clients that come into lump sums of money that have never had that amount of money, they are uneasy. They have this anxiety that I'm going to make the wrong decision. Or more importantly, this money is going to run out really quickly because I've never had the opportunity to spend this amount of money. And I don't think I'm going to make the right decisions. So let's get on track so that we can build the trust for yourself so that you know you're going to make the right decisions with this money.
Okay. What about confronting emotional spending habits? That's the
Ooh,
third point.
Darrell, that's the most common one. So for the ladies that are listening, are you buying the purse and the shoes because you really want them? Or are you buying the purse and the shoes because there is some other void that you're trying to fill? And the way that you can identify that is it is temporary. This purchase fills this place that we are longing to be filled, but it doesn't last long,
Hmm.
right? So that is the piece of like healing. Why are you really making these purchases? Do you really need these things? Or is there something else that we need to uncover? Mhm.
And certainly point out that men are make those mistakes too. I know you mentioned ladies and
Yeah,
purses and shoes,
yeah. I don't know what
but
men buy, but maybe the things that men buy, but men make those mistakes too, right?
well, if you've got another 30 minutes, we'll start listing them off. Golf clubs,
Right.
you know, softball bats. We could go on and on. So,
Right. So it's true. So think about, you're right. Those purchasing decisions, whether you are a woman or a man, when you finish that transaction, how do you feel temporarily? And does it compare to how you feel the next week?
yeah, okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The final one is healing your inner child and shifting money mindsets.
Oh, Daryl. I don't know about you, but I didn't grow up with a bunch of money. I didn't grow up in a wealthy family. I grew up in stability, but not wealth. And I would say that most people that I encounter are somewhere between things were really, really tight and things were stable, right? So when you think about what happened as you were growing up as a child and how it influences your purchasing and your money management decisions now, it is pretty big. So, Daryl, as an example, if you grew up and things were really tight, you may have this place where I look at your budget and your bank accounts. I'm thinking, why are you spending so much on food? Why is your grocery bill $1,500 a month for two people? Right? Why are you spending all of this money eating out? And I've had clients say, you know what? I didn't have a lot of food growing up. So it is
Hmm.
the thing that I purchased. So when we're thinking about money, I also want to understand, what is the 13-year-old you feeling and thinking about when you have money in your hand and you have to make these decisions? How do we heal that so that we can move forward as an adult?
Yeah, yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Mhm.
That's kind of all you were exposed by when you were small, and what you grew up with. It's what you know.
It's what you know and what you feel, Daryl. So if you had this insecurity of food, imagine when you get a lump sum of money, whether it's a tax return, a settlement, you may be the person that goes and fills your refrigerator and your deep freezer up. and you have two people in your house, right? There are purchasing decisions that are usually tied to some behavioral piece that we usually can connect to when you were a child.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Great lead into my first question about people coming into a large, or at least for them, a larger amount of money.
Mhm.
What are some of the first things that they should be doing?
So I've gotten this question before, Daryl, and sometimes people have put these time constraints like, what would you do the first day, the first 72 hours, the first week? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. For 7 days, you're going to do nothing. You're going to deposit that check. First, let it clear,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Don't do these advances. And like, I've seen just the craziest things happen. If you hadn't had it this long, waiting 7 days is not going to make a difference. Do nothing the first 7 days. Nothing. That's my answer.
Okay.
Mhm,
Great answer. But
mhm,
what about pressures from
mm,
other sources and mainly family? Because your
mhm,
family has been through this journey of recovery with you,
mhm,
and through the claim process or the litigation process, and
mhm,
there they are when the funds come in.
mhm. So day 8, you focus on stabilizing, Daryl. Day 8, you're paying the past due power bills, the insurance that lapsed, the cable, the internet, your phone bill that's get. Day 8 is when you sit down and think about what are the necessities that I have that need to be paid. Number 1. Then we go into talking about who do you have to repay, right? Are we thinking about family members that may have advanced you money, that may have given you money? That's when you get into the what do I really owe people? But day 8 is focusing on stabilization. I have to stabilize myself financially so that I'm not in a financial crisis.
Yeah. And I see that quite a bit where
Mhm.
people have been hurt, they're out of work, and a lot of times it is the family that has to step in and they're loaning money or gifting money.
Mhm.
So it happens quite a bit.
And
Uh,
your family knows when you get the money, right?
yeah, that's it, right.
So in my world, we say there will be signs. There will be signs that I've received this lump sum of money. And really, Daryl, think about it. I'm sure from your experience and what you do, how many times do you see someone getting a six-figure check and the next day they're at the car dealership?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And that
you have
really
to go
that
ahead.
segues to my next question. You
Mhm,
talked about, someone's mindset of buying a freezer full of food, but
mhm.
what are the mistakes? And it sounds like going to the car dealership is one of the big ones you've seen. The number one, okay, all right. What else do you see as some of the mistakes?
It's big purchases really fast. So think about purchasing a car day 2, right? You've gotten this big settlement. You're going to purchase a car. Usually it's a cash purchase, right? Because you're just saying, hey, like my credit may not be in the best place. But think about making this huge purchase for a depreciating asset, which simply means you're buying something that is declining or decreasing in value. You've already, day 2, set yourself up for failure. So
Mm,
big purchases, don't put a down payment on a house. Don't buy a house full of furniture. Don't buy relatives' cars and all. Those are the things that you really have to think about long term and build them into this actual settlement that you receive.
okay.
Mhm.
Uh,
But no cars. Do
yeah,
not
no,
buy a
no
car.
car.
No. And if you buy a car, listen to Dave Ramsey and get a good used car.
Fantastic. Good stuff. What about day 9, day 10, and moving forward? Because a
Yes.
lot of people, they may be the case may be over, but we may still have some healing to do.
Mhm.
What kind of strategy? Or I've heard people talk about buckets. What do you use, or what do you like best, and would advise for folks as they move through that or navigate those waters?
Yeah, so after you stabilize, so day 8, we are stabilizing. We need to make sure everything is current. We have food, lights aren't cut off, cell phone is good to go. And then we're really thinking about what does this look like in the next 90 days? Right?
Okay.
So, do you have safe housing? Do you have reliable transportation? Do you have medical care? Darrell, do you have emotional support? Right? Do you have the emotional support that you need for this settlement? So we're thinking about day 8, we've stabilized. Now it really is, I want to make sure that the next 90 days are okay. So in a bucket strategy, that looks like number 1 is income. So the first bucket
Okay.
is I need to make sure that for the next 90 days, I have money being deposited into my checking account every single month so that I can take care of myself and my family. Okay? The second bucket is access because stuff is going to happen, Darrell. Right? The washing machine is going to break. You're going to need a new tire. Someone's
Right.
going to ask you to borrow money. So the second bucket is just access. I need a bucket of money over the next 90 days that when I need a lump sum, I can go there instead of going to this settlement in my savings account or my checking account and drawing it down. And then the third bucket is we think about what does the future look like? That is the future bucket. So you have income, you have access, and then you have future. And that future
Okay.
bucket is really just going to be the remainder of what you've taken out and carved out for your income and your access.
Okay.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Good
And
stuff.
bucket number 3 is what day 91 we come back and revisit.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And is that a revisit to invest that or make that somehow we're going to make that last long term?
Yes. Okay. So when we think about long term, Darrell, most people, and for the audience, if you can agree with this, like, hey, give us a high five, a like, or something on what you're listening to. When you think about investing, most people, that language, Darrell, is foreign to them.
Okay.
It means I'm giving this money and putting it somewhere in this investing universe, in this stock market, in these funds, but I don't really understand it. So, day 91, if you didn't understand investing in the stock market day 1, you're probably not going to understand it day 91. So when you're thinking about this bucket for the next, right, for after day 91, you're thinking about what does the future look like. So Darrell, you really are thinking about number 1, income again. Because remember, we just planned our income for the 90 days. So day
Okay.
91, we are
Okay.
revisiting what do I need in income for the next year, for the next 2 years, especially if you have some type of catastrophic injury, right? Have you applied for Social Security disability? Or have you explored all the disability options with your employer? I mean, there's so many things to consider. But day 91 really is there. What does this look like long term? To me, it does not include investing at that point.
Ah, okay.
It is thinking about putting something in an investment account 3 months after you've received it. If you haven't spent it, that's what we hope most people haven't done.
Right.
It's too soon. We don't
Okay.
know what medical care looks like. I mean, a therapy session is $150. So if you're in therapy once a week, your insurance may not cover it. You haven't hit your deductible. We're already at $600 a month just to make sure that your mind and your heart is okay. So we can't invest it at that point. We
Okay.
just need to make sure you've covered your income, you've covered housing, you're thinking about medical expenses, and you are really truly stabilizing yourself for the next few years.
It sounds like, and thank you for pointing that out to me. It sounds
Mhm.
like some education obviously has to take place before you get to that phase.
Think about it, Daryl. So it is the most judgmental place for someone to assume because someone has received a 5, 6, 7 figure settlement that they know what to do with the money. And then
Okay.
the second thing to assume that not only do they that they should automatically know to invest and know to think about their future. Well, how if that's something they've never done before? Right? So and
Yeah.
you're not going to understand that 3 months in. It really takes time to get comfortable unless you're talking about a structured settlement. I mean, there are all these other different ways to do
Right.
things, but the
Right.
average person, the 90th day, you really just have to focus on making sure that you're okay for the next couple of years.
All right. And that does lead to sort of my next question
Mhm.
is how do we figure out who we surround ourselves with people wise that are going to
Mm,
give us advice? If it's our family members and we grew up with those people or it's
mm,
parents, are those and they're the ones that shaped us like we were talking about earlier from childhood. are those kind of the best people to seek advice from? How do we make that determination?
Yeah, start with the trusted professionals that you've worked with, right? So you've received this settlement, start with the attorney, right? Darrell, your client should be asking you, do you know anyone that I can work with that could help me really figure out how to plan for the settlement that I receive?
They
Yeah,
have.
right. Make sure you send them to me, Daryl. But thinking about starting with the professional that you already trust, that understands your situation. And then, second, thinking about, okay, let me chat with my family and friends. Have they experienced this before? What professionals have they connected with that have helped them? And be cautious, very cautious of the professional that rushes you to make a financial decision. Any financial decision will be a good idea today. It will be a good idea next week and next month. Don't rush.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's been kind of your theme during the whole talk we've had today is just take a breath and step back,
Mhm.
gather information. Good stuff. With your framework and your business, heal, plan, invest.
Mhm.
What do you see, or what would you categorize as recovery? I we talked about this a little earlier off air
Mhm.
about dealing with money or the heal, plan, and invest is a lifelong pursuit. But in the realm of what we're talking about, a
Mhm.
recovery and getting some funds in from an automobile accident or some other injury,
Mhm.
what would you how would you define recovery?
Oh, Dara, recovery is peace. It's peace. It's peace that when you lay down at nighttime, you feel like you have enough food to eat. Your lights are going to be on. You're going to be warm or cool. You have what you need to make a meal. Your family is safe. You're in an environment that is loving, that you feel whole. All things that when you are struggling financially and going through this, to me, absolutely is a catastrophic event. When you are waiting
Mm,
on a settlement and maybe perhaps cannot work, the goal is peace. When you lay down, does your body rest? Right? Is your central nervous system so tight and so anxious and so traumatized? Sometimes it takes months for people to get to that place.
mm,
So when we talk about recovery, recovery is absolutely the goal of peace. It is not the purchase of a house or a car or a purse or going to Disney World. It is when you lay down at night, can you breathe? That is the goal.
yeah,
Mhm.
good stuff. What three things could all of us do immediately? And I'm talking
Mhm.
about anybody, accident or
Mhm.
not involved in an accident. What kind of habits could we pursue just immediately that might help all of us?
Daryl, pay the credit cards off. Number one, get
Okay.
rid of these double digit 26, 28, 29, 34% interest rates. Eliminate the credit cards, settlement or no settlement. Give these banks their money back. That's why I tell people. I know it's not grammatically correct, but give these people their money back. Let the
Right.
banks keep that interest rate money, right? Pay off the credit cards for anyone. All debt does is it keeps you in bondage, right? I'm not talking about your house that's at 4%, 5%, 6%. I'm talking about your Macy's credit card that is 34% interest rate for a pair of pants you purchased 3 years ago. Like it keeps you from being emotionally free. So, anyone, settlement or not, get rid of the credit card debt. Number one.
Okay.
Number two, think about risk. Like you've just had this catastrophic event, you've received this settlement, there's some type of injury or accident, something has occurred, right, to get to this place. Protect yourself from that future risk. So, do you have the appropriate amount of car insurance right now? Do you have the appropriate amount of renter's insurance, of homeowner's insurance? Daryl, do you have an umbrella policy? Because in the state of Georgia, you have a $25,000 limit that most people are driving around with. An x ray is $10,000.
Yep.
So, could you perhaps think about, hey, I need to make sure that I have addressed all of my risk. And Darrell, we can't cover every risk, right? But the major risk of getting in a car, getting in a car accident, of something happening in your home, all of those things we can cover with car insurance, homeowners insurance, and renters insurance. Make sure you have health insurance. Understand your
Yeah.
employer benefits. So get rid of the credit card debt, number one. And number two is completely focused on risk management. Address all these risks, in particular, the ones that got you here. Number three,
Yeah.
plan for the future.
Okay.
Darrell, because at 41, I know there will be a 51-year-old Shavon, a 61-year-old Shavon, a 71, and hopefully a 101 Shavon. And I know that when things are tight, it is really hard to think about your future self, especially when we're working. But you will get there. So you're going to think about, what do I need to do to protect my future? The basics, Darrell. Get a will. LegalZoom, an attorney, your EAP program, free legal support. GerberLife.com has a free will. It's available nationwide. Protect your future. Think about the decisions that you need to make, that you can make today, to prevent your family from having to make these decisions, right? So it's simple. The three things: get rid of credit card debt, risk management, and really think about your future. With the first places you start with, get a will.
That's great stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anything else you could add for us? It's been really fascinating. It's been so helpful. I've taken, take a pause, breathe, don't do anything, don't make any rash decisions, and
Mm.
we are trying to get to peace. That's where we want to be. Anything else you want to add today?
The only other piece I would add, Darrell, and it is a real heavy focus for me, is trust yourself. Trust yourself that you have what you need to have a successful future, that you're not going to make a mistake, that you're not going to spend it all, that you aren't going to end up where you were prior to the settlement. Trust your judgment and get support. And think about it. You've made it this far. You have survived every single day since you were born. This will be no different. Trust yourself that you will make the right decisions and that you will have an amazing life the day after you get this settlement check, just like you did before.
Siobhan, where can people find you?
Find me at home on the couch watching the first 48. But really,
Office, phone numbers, socials.
yeah. I can solve a good crime story.
Okay.
But find me on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, all of these places. You can put in my name, but the easier thing to remember is Heal Plan Invest. If you Google Heal Plan Invest, all of those social media pieces will pop up. The website will pop up. We have a team of 17 amazing
Wow.
people that are
Wow.
absolutely here, ready to help you really live the life that you absolutely deserve.
Yeah, congratulations. That's fantastic growth.
Mm,
It's just awesome. It's
thank
awesome.
you.
It's been a real joy having you on and speaking with you.
Yeah, let me add another piece, Darrell. Maybe I can
Yes.
fit it in. If
Okay.
you are in an accident, have a workers' comp injury, you slip and fall, I mean, all these things that happen out in the world, don't do it alone. Hire Darrell, hire his team, hire a professional. You don't know what you don't know. So, yes, you may be getting a $25,000 offer from this insurance company. They are not on your side.
That's
You
right.
probably should be getting
That's right.
$250,000. Hire a professional, pay them the 25, 30, 33%, whatever the heck it is these days, 40%, and get what you really deserve. Being cheap and trying to do this on your own with Chat GPT is not going to
That's
get you where
that's
you're trying to
exactly
go.
right. And hiring
That's
the
what I want to add.
professional, hiring the professional will give you peace that you didn't leave anything on the table.
You don't know what you don't know. Hire someone who has experience to get this done. It costs nothing out of your pocket. Okay, yes, you may have to get a little haircut off of the settlement, but then you will know that you got what you
That's
deserved.
right. That's right.
That's all I got to say, Darrell.
Fantastic. Thanks again for joining me. God bless you.
Thank you for having me, Darrell. And you owe me lunch soon.
You got it. Be in touch.
All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Crashes, Claims, and Clarity with attorney Darrell Burrow, founder of Burrow & Associates and a trusted advocate for over 30 years. If today's episode helped bring clarity or hope after an accident, be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a review. To connect with Darrell or learn more, visit legalatlanta.com. Join us next week for another honest, faith-centered conversation about recovery, rights, and moving forward after injury.